can no longer call him YRB. From this point onwards, you call him CRB because Ryan Blaney is now a NASCAR Cup Series champion and what was arguably the best championship race ever at Phoenix. This one was surprisingly competitive, especially the second half, because even though Blaney is the champion, he did try to throw away it in some ways. A lot to talk about for the final victory lap of 2023. We got a lot of stuff. This race kind of did set the tone at first to make it seem as though that the Championship 4 drivers were going to dominate, especially William Byron. Started on pole. He was out there. Nobody could touch him. Larson was settling in the top 5 while you had Blaney and Bell that were trying to work their way back into the top 10 after starting out in mid-pack. And in a weird twist, usually in the Championship 4, like I said, the Championship 4 drivers are the stars. But in this race, you saw the non-playoff drivers have their moment in the sun. In stage 1, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, and even Kevin Harvick. They were drivers that were contending, competing with the Championship 4, and were even better than all of them. Even at the end of stage 1, Byron won, but not without a hard-fought battle from Kevin Harvick. Stage 2 was when you really started to see who has what. Again, Kevin Harvick was strong in stage 1, continued that in stage 2, even took the lead, even led laps, took it from William Byron. But it was clear that around that time, after around lap 94 when Harvick took the lead, when you saw Ryan Blaney, he had the fastest car among the Championship 4 drivers. Byron started to struggle. Larson just maintained pace. Bell was kind of struggling, but Blaney had that long run speed. And when you get late into a run, his car would just excel forward. By lap 108, Blaney was able to drive up to William Byron and pass him to take the top spot in the Championship 4. But after that, a massive trajectory in how the playoffs or the championship race would be decided. Christopher Bell reported that his brakes were getting hot. Well, you know what that means. Later on, after that moment, brake rotor explodes, entering turn 3. Bell goes into the wall and out of the race, eliminated from the championship race as he took his car to the garage and would finish in dead last. That meant it was down to HMS with Bell, or I should say with Byron and Larson, and Team Penske with Ryan Blaney. Now, at this point in time, I still think many people had the idea that, oh, probably Byron will still get the win, or, well, you know, he clearly had it, but I'll tell you what. Blaney had that dog in him. We'll get to that in stage 3. But for the rest of stage 2, it was all the non-playoff drivers. Chastain and Harvick. Harvick was still leading, but then late into the race, or should I say late into the stage, Chastain took the lead away. He was starting to show some muscle, and even Chris Buescher was in the conversation to take the lead, which Buescher will end up doing so, take the lead from Chastain and will go on to win stage 2. We're going to skip ahead then to around 100 laps to go in stage 3. By that time, Chastain's leading, but like I said, you get into a long green flag run, that 12 car shines, and he did just that. Went by Byron and Larson to become the leader of the Championship 3 now. After the final green flag pit stop that was scheduled, again, Blaney stays out ahead. Larson gets out ahead of Byron. So Blaney gets out ahead. He has a pretty big gap, about 2 or 3 second gap ahead of Larson and Byron. And then this incredible battle between Blaney and Chastain. And again, with Blaney, he's a bit timid with how he races, but I have never seen Blaney this aggressive and this animated before. Those two, the 1 and the 12, were racing so aggressively, so hard. It was a lot of fun to watch. You could tell Blaney had the faster car. Chastain was holding him up, but Chastain was doing nothing wrong. He wants to win the race, so he was not doing anything wrong, but Blaney was still annoyed. He even gave him the finger, was, you know, animated on the radio, and he even moved Blaney, or should say he even moved Chastain up the racetrack. That allowed Martin Truex Jr. not to come into play. Now you have a 3-car battle for the lead. Now, as a race fan, it was so much fun to watch, but I was supporting Blaney. I wanted Blaney to win the championship. I'm thinking, why are you racing them so hard? You're going to use up your stuff, because when that was going on, Larson ate away at Blaney's lead, the gap between the two. It was around 3.5, then it got down to around 1.4. And you worried at first for a second, if you're a Blaney fan, that Blaney's using up his stuff. When you're racing aggressively so hard with someone, Larson and Byron, they're just chilling in the back. They're just like chilling, you know, they're cruising around, they're having a good old time. You're using up your stuff racing against someone else that has nothing to lose. Blaney has everything to lose. So when he was racing Chastain so hard, it was fun on one side, but at the same time, it was annoying me from a fan's perspective, because it's like, dude, back off. You don't need to race him so hard. But it was also cool on one side because you don't really see that from Blaney. You don't see that type of aggression. Yes, considering he's in a completely different situation, but still, it was kind of fun to see Blaney not in character. He was out of this race was uncharacteristic for Ryan Blaney. How he raced, how he reacted, how he was just balls to the wall. And I even tweeted out he was either going to win this championship or wreck trying. That was the mentality he had, and it was both fun and kind of nerve-wracking to watch. And just as things were getting good, the caution comes out for Kyle Busch spitting right after the start-finish line. Then, after we get onto pit road, Larson's pit crew bang on gets him out ahead of both Byron and Blaney. Blaney actually loses 4 spots. Eric Jones and Denny Hamlin, they come out 1 and 2 after taking only 2 tires. And then we had this great restart battle ensue with Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain, and Kyle Larson. They battled 3 wide. And then Ryan Blaney, just right in the background, had also a great restart. And then you throw William Byron into the mix. And now you have all 3 championship contenders plus Chastain and Hamlin, 5 cars under a blanket for the lead in the final laps. I must say, this was arguably the best championship race ever at Phoenix. The first half was okay. It wasn't the greatest. It was pretty good for Phoenix standards, but that second half onwards was fantastic racing. I will still never shut up about the championship going back to Miami, and it still should, but I got to give props. This was arguably the best Phoenix race ever that hosted a championship race for the Cup Series. Fantastic racing, especially from the second half onwards. But Blaney, like I said, he had that dog in him. He got by Byron, then he was battling Larson, and those two also had a great battle. And then you saw Larson just use up Blaney. It almost looked like he was trying to put him in the wall, offer to number 2, but Blaney held his ground, held his momentum. The two made contact. Blaney, though, he just would not be denied, gets by Kyle Larson, then builds up a lead in front of Larson. And even though he did not win the race, that goes to Ross Chastain. Most importantly, 29-year-old Ryan Blaney is now a NASCAR Cup Series champion, finishing in the 2nd position, takes home the title for Penske's 3rd, I should say their 4th championship ever in Penske history to win the Cup Series title. The 3rd driver to win the title for Penske alongside Logano and Brad Keselowski. And also, this is back-to-back because Penske won the title with Logano last year. Blaney ends the season off with 3 wins, a Coke 600, and 2 wins in the playoffs, including that very crucial win at Martinsville. 8 top 5s, 18 top 10s. What a season, especially in the playoffs, that round of 8. He had a tremendous playoffs, especially from the round of 12 onwards with that win at Talladega. I think in the round of 8, he had a 1st and 2 second place finishes, if I'm not mistaken, including this race today. But when they needed to show up, that 12th car showed up. And as a Blaney fan, I thought Byron had the race, had the championship in the back, considering how well he was the entire season, including in the Phoenix race. I wanted Blaney to win. So it was a feel-good moment to see Blaney win the title. I don't think anyone had him as a championship favorite. Maybe some. I could be wrong, but I highly doubt the majority had Blaney in the championship for. But again, when they needed to perform, they did. So you got to give props to that 12 team, and especially to Ryan Blaney, because he was a dog in this race. And now let's take a look at your unofficial results. Ross Chastain wins the race I think this is the 2nd time he's gone to victory lane this season. I should also mention with Ross Chastain, he had a fantastic car. I don't want to take away anything from him. He had a fantastic car, ran great all race long, so good job for that number 1 team to end up on a high note of what was surprisingly a very disappointing season, at least I think for the 1-team standards. Like I said, Ryan Blaney in 2nd, Kyle Larson in 3rd, oh so close to having a shot at the title. William Byron had the best car all season long, won 6 or 7 races, nothing to be disappointed about in this one, finishes in 4th place, and Chris Buescher ends a career season with another top 5 finish. Martin Truex Jr. in 6th, Kevin Harvick in his final Cup Series start, another top 10 finish, make that 21 consecutive top 10 finishes at Phoenix, the most out of any driver at a specific racetrack. Had a great car, ran up front, led laps. Man, I'm going to miss Kevin Harvick. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Denny Hamlin, a quiet 8th place run for him. Michael McDowell and Bubba Wallace ends off a career season with 10th place finish and would finish 10th in the driver standings. Again, a career year for that 23 team. Daniel Suarez in 11th, Austin Dillon, Eric Almirola in his final start in 13th place. Ryan Preece, Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Joey Logano, Carson Hocevar, and Eric Jones in the top 20. Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch, Harrison Burton, JJ Yeley, Ty Dillon, and then you see the 31 car of Justin Haley and Todd Gillen rounds out the top 30, and then Corey LaJoie, AJ Allmendinger, BJ McLeod in Live Fast Motorsports' final start as a full-time Cup team. Ryan Newman, Austin Cindric, and Christopher Bell with that brake rotor incident finishes in dead last. So yeah, like I said, I loved the race. I thought it was the best race ever for the championship at Phoenix for the Cup Series. We talked about Blaney. Again, what a playoff run he had. Talking about Kevin Harvick, it's interesting. With Harvick's retirement in 2024, for the first time ever, there will not be a single full-time Cup Series driver that competed during the Winston Cup Series era. So it's truly the end of an era. With Kurt Busch's retirement, Kurt Busch was the last driver to race with Dale Earnhardt. Harvick was the last driver to compete full-time in the Winston Cup era. And man, we're now in a new era in NASCAR. Not really much else to say about this race. Again, I think I already talked about the points about how I thought it was very cool that you saw non-playoff drivers have some type of speed for the first time ever since the Championship 4 was introduced in 2014. For the first time ever for the Cup Series, the champion didn't win the race. Finished second, but didn't win the race. And to be honest, none of the Championship 4 drivers had the fastest car, I think. I mean, you could argue Blaney, but Chad Stain still, I mean, he had a bad car, bad fast car. Buescher was fast. Harvick was fast. I mean, you saw some strong contenders. Truex had his moment. So that part was fun to watch. And yeah, I'm gonna miss this. I'm gonna miss this. This is the final one of 2023. And what a way to cap it off. I mean, Ford. Here's the thing with Ford. Ford had probably the worst car, worst manufactured car. We talked about that early in the season, how they were struggling. And would you know it? They end their original next-gen Mustang car because they have a new one in 2024. They ended with a 100% championship winning rate because Logano won last year, Blaney wins this year. So it's kind of funny when you look at it from that perspective. But overall, looking back at this 2023 season, it's insane. I mean, first off, huge thank you to you guys, to the fans that have watched my videos that's throughout this entire season with the race reviews. As you know, Friday night I can get pretty intense, but I've loved this season. For good or worse, for great or for worse, whatever, I love this season. Thank you to NASCAR, also especially for going to LA, something I never thought I would be able to do. Go to Daytona, work on the Chicago video. I mean, things I never imagined I thought I would be doing this year, I did. So huge thank you to Oz from NASCAR. Huge thank you to the fans. Thank you to everyone that watched these race reviews for 2023. I loved it. I loved the season. I feel like this season was better than last year, and I cannot wait for 2024. I know I have, here's the thing with NASCAR. You're never going to be perfectly happy with NASCAR. There are some things you're going to be, disappointed with or angry with, but every single time where we throw the checker flag at Phoenix, it's like, man, I can't wait for next year. 90 or so days until Los Angeles for the Clash next year. I'm excited for it. I can't wait. Thank you so much for watching these race reviews. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for all the comments and support you've shown throughout this entire year. What are your thoughts on this race and this season? Let me know in the comment section down below. Just because the race reviews are done doesn't mean the videos aren't done. We still got some more content cooking up for y'all for the rest of this year and into the off season in next year. But for one last time in 2023, thank you so much for watching this episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. Until next time, my name is Jed. Hope y'all have a wonderful night. Congratulations to Ryan Blaney, your 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion.